Welcome to my first proper video. It's something that I'm going to call the Rerun Rewind. Over in the States, we are awaiting the next new episode of Ghost, which is going to be February the 24th on CBS. Until then, CBS has been rerunning choice episodes throughout this month. And focus on that word choice because it becomes important later. For now, let me say a word or two about how I indeed have become a massive fan of the Ghost franchise. It's not just one show, because of course we got the US version, but we also have the BBC original in the UK. So it's a whole universe of characters, stories, and of course, its many, many fans. So here is how I became one. Quite simply, a friend told me about the show and that I should try it out. Now, I don't always get to watch TV constantly because I have things to do, work, other projects and errands. Not only that, but I have this relationship with current TV, current primetime network TV, where it seems that my favorites come and go and I just can't get into everything else. As such, when I watch sitcoms, I usually tend to lean towards the hits from previous decades. But I tried Ghost eventually. My first episode was Flower's article. And needless to say, I've been hooked, and it doesn't show any signs of slowing down anytime soon. I make it a point to watch the show every week, and I've become heavily involved with the fandom on social media, and I like posting my theories and my opinions about the show, and I'm proud to say that even the cast itself has reached out to me, has acknowledged my words on social. I've gotten likes from them. I've even gotten comments, positive comments back from them. And, well, I'm happy to say that it's usually from Rebecca and Sheila, who play Hetty and Flower, who are characters I like a lot. That's something that makes me admire the show even more. The fact that the people involved with it are not afraid to reach out to fans. They don't ignore us or don't pretend we're not around. The other thing I like is that the cast, the actors and actresses, are so supportive of each other, and you can tell that they're really friends. Not only that, but the American version, the cast and the crew of the American version are fans of the BBC version. So there's a camaraderie between the two. And speaking of that, by watching the CBS Ghosts, I was willing to track down the original, and I enjoy that for what it is too. It's similar, of course, and you can definitely compare a lot of the characters. Spoiler, that's going to be a future video. And a lot of the scenarios, especially early on, between the episodes were the same. But each version of Ghost is really its own thing. Each one has its own style, its own tone. And I enjoy both of them, again, for what each of them are. But enough about that. I think I've overstepped my word or two that I promised. So here now is why we're all here. My rerun rewind of the episode Flower's article, which was reran last week. And take a drink every time I say rerun or reran. It was reran last week I believe it was the 10th of February on CBS. As I just said, that was my very first episode, and watching it again, I kind of had to watch it again because it was special to me for that reason. It's also why I really like Flower. But anyway, I watched it again, and boy, there were a lot of things that I didn't notice or didn't appreciate because I didn't know about the whole story, the whole universe of ghosts. First, I'll say I generally like the episodes where they present the origins of each of the ghosts. So this episode had that going for it. But when I watched it for the second time, like I said, knowing what I know now, there were so many things that popped out. And a lot of things that are actually called back onto in later episodes. For example, I totally forgot about this by the time we got to the episode Sam's Mom, but this episode actually planted the seeds for Pete's crush on Alberta, with him being happy about being in her friend zone. Not only that, but I feel like Jay's question about do ghosts have sex, that it was revisited in the episode with Jay's sister. I think she asked the same thing at the end of the episode. However, the secondary story of this episode actually is quite relevant to the upcoming new episode, Storyteller. Because Jay also asks what happens when a ghost tries to remove clothing. Rather, can they even take their clothes off? Well, that same week, we saw our first commercials for the new episode. And there is a moment, turn away if you want spoilers, if you don't want spoilers, but Sass tries to give Sam one of his feathers, and it keeps recycling back onto him. No matter how many times he tries to give it away, it just appears back on him. So you'd think when a ghost tries to remove an article of clothing or something off of their person, it just resets because that's how they died. That's what they were dressed in when they died. Something else that was interesting was the whole side story with Sass and Shiki, the woman that he was in love with. I think that the fact that Sass had a side story on this episode is not a coincidence. That is, it's not a coincidence that they chose that episode to rerun. And as such, I'm wondering if things that we saw in Flower's article are going to somehow be revisited in Storyteller. Are we going to see Shiki again? I was also wondering, how did Sass wind up at Woodstone while Shiki ended up in the area where the news office was? I'm wondering if that will be explained. And also of note, I see that this coming Thursday in the States, the rerun will be Sam's Mom. And now I'm trying to rack my brains, thinking how that episode was relevant, or rather could be relevant, to the upcoming new episode. We also know from the commercial that Sam is having self-doubt, wondering if they will get the B&B open after all. And Sam's Mom was partially about the self-doubt Sam had, or how she felt that she never could impress her mom. So I'm wondering if this is a theme we will see in Storyteller. This is also the episode where Pete officially mentioned that he had a thing for Alberta, which we know was hinted at in Flower's article. So, are they picking those reruns because they tie in so well together that way? Will there be something to do with Pete and Alberta on the side during Storyteller? We'll have to see. Now, 2 weeks before this, we also had another rerun. That one was of the Halloween episode. And again, racking my brains, trying to think if there's some common bond here. I didn't watch the rerun because I had watched the Halloween episode not too long before. That's where the gazebo was burnt down. So I'm wondering if that happening and maybe other incidents that have happened at Woodstone, could those be other reasons why the future of having the B&B could be in doubt? Besides the money thing, of course. That's another thing we shall see about. Because I don't think they randomly chose episodes to rerun. Everything has to tie in together. And it's going to be pretty interesting as we rediscover things from rewatching these shows and then seeing the new episode and seeing how it plays out. Leave your comments down below if you have any opinions, if you agree, disagree, or want to add anything to it. And I will see you next time. Bye.